Rain, rain, and more rain. When will it stop, and how bad will the flooding be?
And more area schools closed because of the rising waters. We'll tell you which Central Georgia students will not be attending class today.
Those stories and more coming up straight ahead on 13 WMAZ.
This is 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News Morning.
You're looking live over Dublin. It is Wednesday, February 13th. We'll get to the top stories in just a moment. But first, to check the weather with David Ernst.
Thank you. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies right now. You can see that from the camera shot with the lights reflecting off of the cloud deck in Dublin. A little bit of rain activity to our north from Atlanta, stretching back into central Alabama. We could see some of these showers try to make their way into middle Georgia, but at this point, most of us are dry, and as we go through the day, we do have that rain potential, but it's not nearly as pronounced as the last couple of days. It'll just be some scattered rain showers, especially as we get into the mid-afternoon. Highs today right around 60 degrees. Will finally start to dry out to end this week, so I'll have more details on what kind of weather you can expect heading into the weekend. It's coming up in your full forecast.
Our top story at 6:30 this morning, those floodwaters you are seeing out of your window as the rain just keeps on coming. This is what the public park at the corner of Riverside Drive and Martin Luther King looked like last night. It's a similar scene there this morning. The Okmulgee has crept up past the banks there in downtown Macon into an open area where you usually see sidewalks and a recreational space with concrete ground and benches. But all you can see here is water. The Heritage Trail is closed for now until those waters recede. New this morning, in just hours, the State Board of Pardons and Paroles will hear from advocates for clemency for Andrew Cook. Cook is scheduled to die next Thursday after being convicted of gunning down Grant Hendrickson and Michelle Cartagena back in 1995. Both of his victims were Mercer students. The clemency hearing for Cook will happen at 9 a.m.
It's 6:32. In many spots, there's just nowhere for all that rain to go. So school closures continue today. Today, school in Telfair County and the public schools in Wheeler County are closed because of the muddy roads and some other problems for families to get children to school. Staff members in both systems are scheduled to report at 10 this morning. All other area school districts have class as scheduled.
This morning, we know future rounds of elections in Macon and Bibb County may not be partisan races. That's if the governor signs off on a bill to bring nonpartisan elections for most local offices. They include the mayor and county commission in the new consolidated Macon and Bibb County government, the school board, water authority, and several judge posts. The bills have now passed the Senate. The governor's desk is the next step. Pushed in the House by Macon Republican Alan Peake, the legislation made it through despite some heated comments from Macon Democrat Nikki Randall. She says Republicans pulled a bait and switch operation by agreeing to partisan elections last year just to get Democrats to back consolidated governments.
When I went before the people and told them what this measure was and what was included in this measure, I did not lie to them. It was in black and white, but now it's been changed and it was beyond my control.
I mean, we make changes to the charter every year. We are only responding to what the citizens requested of us, which was to put it, to try and pass legislation to go from partisan to nonpartisan.
House lawmakers took 4 separate votes. If the governor adds his approval, 13 WMZ has learned the Justice Department would still have to sign off on the whole thing. If that happens, the first nonpartisan election for the new consolidated government would be in July. Also this morning, good news for job seekers. A California-based packaging company plans to bring a $12 million plant and 90 jobs to Monticello. That's according to the State Department of Economic Development. They say Norton Packaging broke ground yesterday in Jasper County for their factory that will manufacture plastic shipping containers. Norton's plant will service the Southeast, Puerto Rico, and Europe. The company says they plan to start hiring in July.
And the Warner Robins landmark will undergo some changes itself. The Houston County Board of Education approved a plan that says renovations to McConnell Talbert Stadium will not cost more than $2.9 million. A construction schedule from Parish Construction based in Houston County shows renovations starting this month. That phase of construction would wrap up sometime this summer. The upgrades include a visitor side press box, handicapped seating, restroom improvements, a new track, lighting, and repairs to the underground drainage system. 13 WMAZ has also learned Chairman Tom Welmer of the board has resigned his post for personal reasons. Welmer served in that position for 11 years. Also developing on this Wednesday morning, the investigation continues today into what caused that horrific pileup on I-16. Today marks 1 week since the massive wreck left 4 people dead and a number of others injured. A tanker truck exploded in that fiery crash closing down I-16 for several hours. The wreck happened east of Macon, west of Dublin. Foggy and smoky driving conditions may have played a role in causing the crash, although it remains under investigation. In a speech we carried here on 13 WMAZ last night, President Obama gave his take on the state of our union, and Republicans had a response.
We can say with confidence that America will complete its mission in Afghanistan and achieve our objective of defeating the core of al-Qaeda. Let's prove there's no better place to do business than here in the United States of America, and let's start right away. We can get this done.
Obamacare. It was supposed to help middle-class Americans afford health insurance. But now some people are losing the health insurance they were happy with. I pray we can come together to solve our problems, because the choices before us could not be more important.
We have a complete coverage of the speech from the State of the Union and the response right now online at 13WMAZ.com. Search the State of the Union.
More signs of construction coming our way as work to revitalize 2nd Street in Macon could start as early as this fall. Caitlin Heck explains how the design group plans to kick off the multi-phase project.
A new draft of the 2nd Street Corridor project by CHA and Huntley Partners shows an extended design reaching all the way to the start of Gray Highway, instead of stopping at Emory Highway by Coliseum Hospital.
I'm pleased that there is that inclusion and that all of the discussion now is about the 2nd Street project, but it's also about East Macon, and it's also about the opposite end going toward the west.
The presentation to Macon City Council also included a new plan for Little Richard Penniman Boulevard, with a curved design to keep the connector from affecting a large amount of homes. The hump bridge would stay intact, but would be solely for bikers and pedestrians. It could cost up to $7.5 million for that phase, which would come mostly from the $8 million in SPLOST funds already set aside. That would also include what the plan calls the Cherry to Poplar Vision Area.
Basically taking our streetscape plan, the reverse angle parking, the street treatments, the sidewalks, the bike lanes, and doing it in that section of 2nd Street. So when you walk there, you can see, wow, that's exactly what we want for the whole corridor.
CHA and Huntley say their next focus will be the Mid-City Square, planned for the intersection of Pine and 2nd Streets. Caitlin Heck, 13 WMAZ, Eyewitness News.
Mayor Rickards says a lot of the funding for future parts of the plan will come from tax allocation, district funds, and private investors. City Council is scheduled to vote on the final 2nd Street draft in March.
It is 6:38. When news stories and your opinions meet, it is a serendipitous moment.
Wow.
Thank you. Our Facebook page is a location where you can share, babble, banter, cajole, and chatter about the news and life in general. Join the discussion on Facebook, won't you? Visit facebook.com/13WMAZ. Become a fan by clicking the like button. Doing that will enter you into running a Fan of the Day and Fan of the Morning, and you could win a 13WMAZ coffee mug.
Hey, Ernst says you hit about 5 SAT words in there.
You got to do what you.
I think so.
Got to do what you can, you know.
Serendipitous, of course, a chance discovery.
Yes.
If you were wondering what the definition is, don't ask me to spell it because that is not my strong suit. However, I can do some decent weather forecasting, and we got mostly cloudy skies today, temperatures around 50. Few rain showers possible today, but the heavy and sustained rain is moving away from the area. We'll have a complete rundown of the flood warnings that have been posted, and we'll talk about your forecast getting into the weekend coming up right after the break.